As far as football is concerned, on a roll. Double-digit wins the last 3 consecutive seasons. Incredible season for Rashad Penny this year. One of the greatest ever by any college running back. And, of course, all we ask for is more. We want more, more, more. Well, the man that's given us the great excitement over the last several years and does promise more good times ahead is joining us right now, the head coach of the Aztecs, Rocky Long, back on with the Cannons. Coach, how are you today?
I'm doing all right. How about you guys? You sound energetic.
Well, we are. We're always energized talking with you, Coach. Love everything about you. Love the way you handle yourself, and certainly love the direction of the Aztecs program. Before we get into some of the specifics of players that you signed on today to join the San Diego State football program, what are your thoughts on this 2-tiered signing period? You had the early signing period. You had 17 players signed. You had 7 more today. How do you like it?
Well, I right now it feels a little weird because this is usually the day that you sign 20 to 25 guys and everybody's excited and you're here at 4 o'clock in the morning waiting for the letters of intent to come in. And today seemed anticlimactic because we only had 7. We knew they were coming. Most of our big recruiting was done when they signed in December. So it's a little weird feeling, but I think it helped us. I'm not sure it helped everybody, but I think it helped us.
Rock, do you look back at the first signing period and maybe look at some areas on the team that you wish you would have addressed in maybe a better way? Does the second period allow you to kind of go back and recheck some boxes?
It does. I mean, we have a formula going in, and obviously we didn't fill all our needs in December. We filled a bunch of them because we signed a bunch of kids, but it allows you to concentrate on the ones you still need. You don't keep recruiting the same position guys all the way until February since they've already signed, so you start working on the guys that you need to fill some spots.
All right, so the guys that you added today, 3 on offense, 3 on defense, and then what we call an athlete, could go either way. Coach, tell us a little bit about the 7 players added to the list that will be joining the Aztec program.
Well, that's interesting because, a couple of them are transfers, or 3 of them are transfers, guys that are going to come in here out of either transfer from another school or junior college guys. Those are guys for specific needs. We thought we needed some older defensive linemen. We kind of got a gap between our seniors and the next group, which are sophomores, so we filled that spot. And then we thought we needed a couple more DBs, and we got one of them that's going to come from the junior colleges. So those guys were for needs, guys that we think we need next year to have a good team. And then the freshmen we signed are guys that we've been recruiting all along, guys that didn't want to decide in December and wanted to continue with the recruiting process, except for the running back. The running back kind of fell in our lap. We recruited him early. And then he decided to go someplace else, committed to someplace else, changed his mind, committed to somebody else. They dropped him, and all of a sudden he was looking around for a scholarship, and we still needed a running back, so we got lucky on that one.
Yeah, Coach, Zidane Thomas out of Peoria Centennial High School, 5'11", 210 pounds, nice and early, 725 this morning. As far as the depth at the running back position, is he a guy you're thinking can come in and compete for time immediately, or are you happy with the stable that's in front of him?
Obviously, he thinks he's going to come here and start. That's what you think, and that's kind of what you let him believe.
Yeah.
What we do believe is that he's good enough to play for us right away, but we've got 4 running backs in our program already that we think are pretty good too, and they're not going to let him just step in and take their spot. And Juwan Washington's the guy that's going to be the lead guy next year, and the other ones are going to fight it out to see who gets to come in and carry the ball 15 times a game.
Coach, I'm old school, man. I love running backs. I want running backs rolling up numbers. I've always been a stat guy, 100 yards rushing. I was obsessed with this my entire life. So what has it meant from a recruiting standpoint when you have back-to-back record-setting seasons for your running backs with DJ and obviously with Rashad Penny this year? How does that change the dynamic or maybe enhance the dynamic when you're out there recruiting running backs?
Well, for the last 3 years, it's really helped. With the success of the running backs in our program for about the last 6 years, it's really helped recruiting. This year was different. This year, they looked at Rashad leaving, but they saw Juwan Washington, and they figured since we we've been lucky or good enough to have a number one running back carrying the ball 25 to 30 times, a number two running back carrying the ball 10 to 15 times, that there's somebody else in your program that's going to be the number two running back. So this year, it was harder to recruit running backs than it has been in the past, just because they're starting to figure out that we might have some good running backs already here.
Aztecs head coach Rocky Long with us here on the Cannons. National Signing Day 2.0 in the books for the Aztecs. 7 more coming on board to wear the red and the black. Rocky, you make the announcement today, and I love it because it's finally about time we had some winners walking through that facility. You're going to hold spring camp down at Murphy Canyon Road, where the NFL team that used to be here used to practice.
Yeah, I think it's going to be fun. I think it's going to be exciting. Obviously, it's a change of scenery. We're redoing our locker room. We didn't know where we were going to dress. I thought it was going to be like the Pop Warner days, where you dress at home and carry your pads to the park and you practice. Then you go home and ask your mom to clean your jersey.
Right.
All that stuff. I thought that's what we were going to have to do, but we came up with the idea, and the city was nice enough. I mean, it's sitting there doing nothing, but the city was nice enough to lease it to us and let us use it for a month.
Well, I tell you what, anything to help the program out. Coach, we really haven't had a chance to speak to you much since the season ended. A strange bowl game. That's all I can say. It was just a really strange bowl game. Give Army credit. They played a great game, and it just was a very bizarre game. But, I mean, do you do a process after all these years of a little self-evaluation when a season ends? How do you go about, sort of putting one season to rest before you jump in on the next season?
That's exactly what we do. We're in the process right now. As soon as we take about a week vacation around Christmas, and then we get back to work, and the first month that we work is totally evaluating what we did well, what we didn't do well, the players that we've got coming back, obviously scheme-wise, what we can do differently that will make us better and take advantage of our best players. And then we do a whole deal on each and every player that is in our program right now, what he can do for us, and then in recruiting what we need. And then hopefully we're ready to go so we can teach those new things in spring practice when it starts.
Rocky, you're a victim of your own success. Danny Gonzalez and Tony White moving on to Arizona State, and when you have great runs, you're going to get poached as far as your assistants are concerned. Are you just resigned to the fact that as long as you win, that's going to continue to happen?
Well, I hope we keep winning so it continues to happen, because my wife keeps telling me that's flattery when they want to come and get your guys. Now, all that does to me is make me have to work harder, and
a little bit.
Soon they stay. So, no, I think that we've played pretty well the last 3 years, especially, and I think people think we have secrets. We have no secrets, but we do have good coaches, and whenever you have good coaches, other people are going to be interested, and it just comes with the territory.
I know when we spoke before last season, there were certain concerns you had, the schedule. We were talking specifically about those back-to-back games against Arizona State on the road and Stanford, that you had a young team, how they would develop. I know it's real early, Coach. You haven't even really seen your team out on the field yet for 2018, but is there a certain level of pessimism or optimism already based on early, sort of an early look at your team heading into 2018 right now?
I think we're optimistic. I think we have a program that will play well no matter what's gone from your last year's program. But when you lose a guy like Rashad Penny, it's going to be hard to match his productivity. I don't know how you do that. Hopefully we have 2 or 3 guys that can hook together and be as good as he was by himself. So that's the biggest concern. The other concern is we're a little short on depth in the D-line and in the defensive secondary. Offensive line still young, but they're going to be much better, and I think they played better than we anticipated them playing last year. So I think that's a strength of the program. We've got strength in the program at quarterback. We've got to get our receivers to play better than they did last year, and then obviously we got to get some of those new guys in there to play older than they are in the D-line and in the secondary.
Well, Coach, I had Rashad Penny second on my final Heisman ballot. I couldn't deny Baker Mayfield. I thought he deserved it. I had Rashad on my final official Heisman ballot. What were your thoughts on his Senior Bowl performance? What'd you think?
Well, I think he showed everybody else that didn't know who he was that he belongs. I mean, gee whiz.
Best running back in the country.
I think he is, too. But now I'm prejudiced. But, he tied an NCAA record for 5 consecutive games of 200 yards or more rushing. And the other guys that did that were Marcus Allen and Barry Sanders.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of puts you in special class, you know.
Coach, Rashad and Nick Bodden, David Wells, Cam Kelly, they're all going to be representing the Aztecs at the Combine coming up here at the end of the month. Have you had any words of advice for them? Have you had any interaction with them leading up to Indianapolis?
That's a great question, because I've been asked that about 10 times already. But it's an interesting deal. I mean, you were with them almost 24 hours a day all through their college career, and then all of a sudden they get done and they think they're going to be NFL guys, which those 4 guys are, and all of a sudden there's other people advising them. They've got agents, they've got trainers,
yeah.
They've got places to go and eat right, so they don't ask us a darn thing.
Well, it's like the parent thing, Coach. You know,
the fledglings have left the nest.
Hope, you know, as you know, I have 3 kids, and I hope they've listened to a few things I've said along the way, because there's going to be other influences in their life. You know, it's that root, Coach. It's what you rooted in them that ultimately will lead to their success at the next level.
Well, let's hope that's the case, because they're not asking our opinion.
Well, Coach, 24 players added in the 2 signing periods. I know this. They are coming to an incredibly quality program. And you know what? Just as this year of us becoming the home of the Aztecs, and interviewing the young men that you have in this program and the coaches you have in this program, I mean, quality. No wonder you're winning so many games, Coach. But it all starts at the top with the great Rocky Long. Coach, all the best, man. Enjoy, and as we all are, counting down to 2018. Can't wait for the start of the season.
All right, guys. We appreciate you. We appreciate you taking care of us like you do. Thank
Absolutely.
you very much.
Thanks,
all right,
Coach.
there he is, Rocky Long. Wow. You know, it's so great for a program like San Diego State to have a coach who's committed to the program.